crafty friends. This is Melinda Antarian, and I am the Cali Crafter here on YouTube. I am so excited and delighted to announce that I'm going to be the guest designer for the month of June for the Loaded Envelopes Galore and More group on Facebook. So for this month's project, what we're going to do is a 3D camera box. It is so much fun. I found this adorable little box. It's on the svgcuts.com site, and I'll put that link in the description box below, and I'm going to look for a silhouette version also of something that's similar. But yeah, it ended up being about 4.5 inches tall by 7 inches long, and it's about 2 inches wide, so you're going to be able to fit a lot of goodies in there. But the only thing that's going to be required in our swap this time is an accordion card, and I'll show you that. That's going to be a 4x3 card, and that'll be towards the end of the video, and also a Shaker Polaroid card. I really wanted to bring something that I know everybody's in the spirit of kind of getting back out there and making some more memories, and it's just time. So I hope this box is going to bring a little bit of inspiration for that. Alright, let's get started. And I uploaded all the files to Design Space. And I think the one thing that you'll have to remember to do is when you design your box, you will have to, in Design Space, or if you use Silhouette, I'm not sure because I use Cricut, you will have to highlight and attach all of your score lines to make sure that they will score. Because if they're detached, then you'll just have the cutout pieces and you won't actually have the score lines. So if you have any questions on that, you can message me on Facebook and I can explain it a little bit. Also, the SVG Cuts website has lots of tools in each machine. Since I don't use a Silhouette, it might be easier for you to read the uploading instructions there. Okay, here you go. Here's the 3 top pieces. You're going to make sure that they're all scored. You're going to fold them, and you're going to fold these top pieces back because this is going to be the center of your camera. So go ahead and make sure everything's creased. Now you're going to take your 2 top pieces, and there's a tab on each end, and you're going to go ahead and glue them. Make sure everything's lined up. Put a little bit of glue, and make sure you hold it there for a second. Then we're going to flip it around and do it on the other side. And not too much glue because sometimes it'll take a little bit longer to dry and just kind of slip, but there you go. This art glitter glue is great. So then it'll make a nice little loop. And then we're going to start on our sides. I went ahead and did the sides, but I think it would be easier if you did it from the middle. As you can see here, I'll just do the little tabs, and then you start forming it to the sides. And you can really see like each tab is each edge of your, like the top of the paper. So you start there, and then hold it down. And it's nice that you can get your fingers in there, kind of hold it down. And then go to the next tab and hold it down. And if you need to flip it over so you can see a little bit better and line it up, do that too. But you just keep going around until you get all of this put together. And right here is probably one of the trickiest parts because this tab's kind of a little strange. It jets out a little. So all you do is kind of curve it around and bend it up, and you'll be able to glue the 2 together and make sure you hold on to it and let it dry really well before you move on to the next step so it doesn't slip off. And then you'll turn it around and do the same thing on the opposite side. On the SVG Cuts website, they do the middle first, which is what I should have done, but this works as well. So as you can see, once this dries, you'll be able to fold in the centerpiece. And there's that tricky little part again. You just kind of curve it on and hold it down. Okay, now that your sides are done, we're going to go ahead and glue down the top flap, and that's where usually like where the little light will pop out. It's nice at this part because you'll still be able to get your fingers in there to kind of hold it down, but make sure it's super dry and it will look great. Alright, next you're going to take your top piece, you're going to fold your flaps inside, flip it over, and then you're going to make sure that the top part is like the longer edge, it's almost like an inch. You're going to make sure you glue down the sides and you just line up that inch piece with the front, And we're only going to glue here on the sides. You can glue that extra tab, but you don't have to. It's not going to come out. It's just to reinforce it a little bit. Slide that in there. And if you have a hard time holding it with your hands, you can actually slide to the corner of a table or the edge of a table, and you can press it down with your hands a little bit easier. Gives you a little stability underneath it. And there you have your box lid. Now here are the pieces for the bottom half of the camera. There's the 3 pieces for the front half and the 2 for the sides. Each one has got a little cutout with a number on there. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the Cricut or Silhouette will actually cut it out for you. So it'll also show you where the numbers go to the bottom. You're going to go ahead and fold over all of your tabs. Like so. And then you're going to make sure these 2 are out. Alright, so this is going to form the front part of the box on the bottom that kind of juts out a little bit. So also I wanted to mention, one of the things that I noticed is when you are cutting out your paper and you're choosing your paper, see how this paper is the polka dots? This is going to coordinate with the lid. So whatever group that the Cricut uploads, and because there's going to be different sets that it's going to cut out, just make sure whatever this paper is the same paper that you want for your lid. And then that way it's easier. I mean, you can adjust it, but if you're wanting to coordinate, you just make sure that those 2 are the same papers, because there's not going to be an overlay on these like there is on the bottom portion where the black sides are. With the front facing you, you're going to grab the left panel and the left tab, and this is where the lens is going to go, is on the polka dot portion right here in the front. So you're going to make sure that's glued on and just curve it around a little bit. Move on to the next piece. And then keep on going until you get all the way around your box. Just make sure you're lining up all your pieces so it folds correctly. And once you get done, the top tabs are going to fold down. And the top ones are going to actually reinforce your box. Next, you're going to turn your box upside down. And you're going to get one of your panels. There's going to be 2 panels. The smaller one's going to go in the inside, so use the larger of the 2, and it's just slightly smaller. But make sure you grab the larger one, put the smaller one aside, and you're going to glue that one to the bottom. Alright, the bottom of your box is almost done. Now what we're going to do is flip it over, and we're going to put that smaller panel in the bottom. So just put a bunch of glue, and I had folded these in on the top, but go ahead and leave them out until, or put them back out until you get this piece glued in, because you can't get stuck in there. So I pulled them back out. And now you're going to go ahead and glue all those tabs down, and you're going to glue them inside the box. And you're going to fold them in. There you go. And that will reinforce the inside. And there's the bottom half of your box. All you have to do is embellish it with the added template pictures that they gave you. So I cut mine out of this really cute little camera paper. So you just kind of glue it on. I glued the back on first, but you can do the sides first so you can line up the back. Luckily, when I just kind of eyeballed it, but it lined up perfectly, so either way works. And you'll continue on with your right decoration paper, or left, I guess it depends on which way you're looking at it. But make sure you pull it away from the edge just a little bit, or it's not going to line up with the curves to go around the back of your camera. So as you see, I kind of moved it so I put a little bit more glue. And there you go. And then just curve it around to the back. I did that piece first, so then I bend it back and I can add a little bit more glue. And you just do this all the way around your box. And there you have the bottom of your box. It looks great. Okay, so next we're going to move on to the lenses. There's 2 sets for the inner and the outside of the lens. The set on the right is 3 pieces, and that's going to be the outside of your lens. See how it's smaller and kind of thinner, and the strips in the left side is for the inside of your lens that actually connects to the camera. Let's go ahead and push away the portion of the lens that actually connects to the camera, and we'll start with the outside lens. Okay, I like to soften my paper just a little bit, kind of like by curling it with my fingers. And then what we're going to do is glue the tab one to the other. Just go up to the score line. Don't actually bend the tab. It doesn't need to be bent because we're making a complete circle. So go ahead and glue that underneath to the other end. Hold that there. Make sure you line up real well so they kind of stick together. All right. Okay, so we're going to start bending the tabs towards the center all the way around, and we're going to leave the other tab straight up, and then you are going to lay this flat on the table and grab one of your circles. Alright, you will place one of them on the inside, and we are going to add just a little line of glue around the edge of it so that way it'll stick. I tried to stay on the outside of the little holes because you're just going to have it stick to the tabs. Then take your next strip, soften it just a little bit, and this tab can actually be glued on the outside of the ring because you're not going to see it and it'll be fine. There you go, just a light bit of glue. Don't bend the tab, make sure you only go to the score line. Hold it down. Next, you'll push the tabs towards you on one of the sides, and you'll flip it over and push the other sides in just a little bit just to get them out of the way. And you'll see they're flat and kind of going out like a spoke. Go ahead and pick up your bigger ring and flip it over, flat side. Make sure that you're putting a little line of glue around because now you're going to place your smaller ring inside with the tabs to stick down. And then flip it over and kind of push it down and let it kind of seal and dry. I like to use a pencil with a little eraser on there, like the removable ones, because I feel like it's pointed and I can get in there really well and hold down the pieces. Just make sure it doesn't stick to whatever you're gluing it to, like the pink paper I have underneath. You just want to kind of move it quickly so you don't stick to it. Otherwise, use like a Teflon sheet or something else. Alright, so now you're going to flip over your piece, make sure all your tabs are down, and you are going to grab your next piece, your next circle with the holes punched in it. You'll see it has 4 little holes. You're going to slide that on the top. Now you're not going to push it all the way down. You're just going to kind of rest it in there, and that way it just gives a little bit more stability also for that ring. Then we'll push the tabs in, and that'll hold it in place. There you go. Now you're going to flip it back over and attach the solid ring on the back side. So I was just making sure that all the tabs get glued down, so make sure you get those. And then we're going to get glue all over the back. Make sure it's nice and covered. Doesn't have to be thick, but just make sure it's covered because you want the ring to stick easily. Okay, grab your ring and place it on, and just make sure you kind of clean up the edges too as you go. And hold that down and let it dry. The second half of the lens that actually attaches to the camera is a little bit different, but the same concept. I did put tape on one side of the rings because I always have a hard time attaching acetate with glue. I've never had a good experience. I'm sure there's plenty of ways to do it. You can let me know in the comments down below. But we'll slide this in here, and you can kind of see the tape on there. I'll take that off, and I will place the acetate down on top of the tape. Next, just flip it over, add your solid ring on the outside of it. Make sure it's nice and dry. There you go. Okay, now you're going to put a little bit of glue on each of the tabs after you pushed them in just slightly. You want to make sure that they're still elevated a little bit because that way it'll grab onto the actual disc. Place that solid black disc on the back, or whatever color that you're using, and we're going to hold down, and we're going to hold down until it's really nice and glued down well. And then this is how we're going to attach it to your camera. Next, we're going to go back to the smaller lens and we're going to glue the back of it. And again, make sure the tabs are just a little bit out so it can attach to the bigger lens easier. So go ahead and give this a good amount of glue. And then flip it over. And press it down to the second lens. So the two lenses will be together. Then once these dry, you're going to put glue on the back of the big lens and we will attach that to the front of your camera. Also make sure when you're putting your lens on the front of your camera that you check the bottom for the seams and make sure the seams are going on the bottom. It'll just make it look a little nicer and more finished. Hold that on there for a few minutes, let it dry really well, and you've got yourself the main box to the camera. Alright, now we're finally in the home stretch. We're making the buttons for the top of our camera. So all you do is you're going to have 3 buttons, 2 of one color, 1 of another, and they're in an octagon shape. So you're going to go ahead and fold on the score lines and go ahead and glue the end tab back onto itself just like we did on the lenses. We're going to go ahead and fold in the tabs on the sides, and you're going to have an octagon piece that you're going to glue on top. And so you'll add a little bit of glue, put that on there. There you go. You will get 6 circles for each one of your buttons for your camera. Go ahead and glue those all together and you're going to make one thick circle. And then we're going to glue the octagon button right on top of, in the center of one of those. And then that's going to be glued onto the other end. And that'll be your main button. Go ahead and glue those all in place and you have the top done and a completed camera. Okay, so I decided I want to strap on my camera box. So I just took a piece about that long and then I cut the end, and then this side let's cut a little bit better. And then I'm going to heat it. Just be careful with your lighter. And then this side I looped about 1 inch, and then this side I'm going to measure and do about the same, like that, maybe just a hair less. There we go. And then what I did was I just took my crocodile and I used the bigger side and I went inside here and I punched a hole like that, and kind of brushed that up a little bit, trimmed off the frilly part. There you go. And then I just burned it a little. Just be really careful and make sure you're not burning anything else. But I just burned a tiny bit in the middle. It says singe it, and a little bit there. And if you're a kid doing this, make sure you get some help. And there you go. So now I'm going to see which brads I like better. Do I like this one? Nope, I think I like this one better. A little sparkly brad. I think that's so cute. So this will be able to move, and then this will be seared so it won't fray. Let's move this piece out of the way. Now what I'm going to do is get my box. And I know I want it about there. And this one's going to go about there. So maybe, let's see. Let's just put this in and open it so I can kind of hold it together. I think I'm even going to go towards the middle. Let's see here. Your second hole there. So you kind of just lightly do it. So I think about there. Let's get the ruler. And that's exactly 1.5 inches. So we'll go on this side and go down exactly 1.5 inches. And we'll go in the middle. So I already know, I think I'm going to do the smaller punch in this one. Oh, I can't go down that one. Okay, so if you have this really big one, if not, you can just kind of poke a hole with a pencil, or, you know, and I'm sure you have a pokey tool, which I can even do that. You can just see where it is and kind of go through like that. Super easy. Make sure it's towards the middle. And that's where my little mark is. I'll just poke a hole there. And if you want to be more precise, you can use this, and it even has measurements down here. So you can actually go to the 1.5 mark. It's kind of hard to see. There we go. You could go to the 1.5 mark if you want a bigger punch. All right. But I think that'll work. So let's go ahead and put on our strap. So we'll get this. Put our brad through there. Okay, and we'll open them in the inside. Okay, and we'll go on this side, and we'll flip it over and put our brad, make sure it's level. We'll put our brad through this side. There you go. You don't want our strap twisted. And then we'll poke them through here like that. And then we'll go inside and open that one. And if you decide you want to cover up the brads, you can do that too. On the inside, just put a piece of tape, paper in there. And then that way this moves down. We'll put our lid back on. And there you go. And now you have a little strap. See? Super easy. And then it looks like kind of how they are when they're looped in, and you don't have to tear through your box a whole lot. But then you can even lay them on the side. You make your strap longer, shorter. But yeah, super easy. Okay, so I'm going to show you real quick how to make this adorable little accordion card. You can do some journaling on there, capture some of your favorite moments that goes with your camera box that we put in here, and this is going to be one of the inserts. All right, super easy. It's basically a 3x4 card. We're going to score at 3, 6, and 9. And this is a 12x12 sheet of paper. Super easy. That's it. So now I'm going to get rid of this. Grab our cutter, and we're going to rotate so the score lines go horizontal. All right, and now we're going to cut at 3 inches. Sorry, 4 inches. See, that'll be right there. So you're going to slice it 4 inches. Here's our card. And we're just going to go back and forth. Get my little bone folder that I hid. There we go. There. And there. And back. And it's okay if it's just a tiny bit off, because you're going to add a little bit of card on there or a bow. And there you go. Super easy. And then all I did on mine was add a piece of paper to make it embellish. Let's go ahead and add this one. So we know it's 3x4. So usually when I do my measurements, I will, let's see, even though I know my measurements, I'll just stick my paper over, flip it over, and I like to go in the corner, and so I know that's my border, and then I'm going to mark about there and there, so I know there's a little bit of edge on each side, so that way I don't even have to worry about measuring. And then I come back over here, except for you do want to make sure your paper is facing up. Come over here, take this, and go just a hair past. Go on this side, do the same thing, and there you go. And you can even, you know, line up your paper so it's perfectly in the center. But there you are. I mean, look how cute that is. And then add your trim, add a bow, and you're done. And there you go, just like this one. And then you can use white journaling pens or paint pen, or you can even just add another piece of white paper and round the edges and everything and be super cute. But very simple. Okay, there you have it, a finished camera box and card. Thanks for sticking around with me. I hope you had fun making this box, and we will see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you very much. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.